Alright, hey guys, cleanup 1 for 1 here. This video is going to serve as the intro to my Pool 2 to Infinite challenge series. And I'm going to go over a couple things really quick. What inspired me to do the challenge, the rules for this challenge, what to expect when watching these VODs, and how you can learn from watching and following my journey. Alright, so what inspired me to do this challenge? Well, there's two primary reasons. One is I actually enjoy when I'm the underdog, because when you're the top dog and your deck is super strong, it's like sometimes you can just mindlessly play and you'll win, and it's like, well, that was not challenging at all. But when you're playing an underpowered deck, there's often only a few things, a few decisions that you can make that can even contest you winning the game, and sometimes there's no out. So in those situations, you just retreat and you just move on to the next game. But for the most part, I really enjoy when there is a single line out of like maybe 1,000 possible lines, and you play that one single line that wins you the game. That is the most rewarding experience for me, and that is what I enjoy about playing the game. The second reason why I'm doing this challenge is because I absolutely hate playing against bots. And the problem with our matchmaking system is the higher your rank will go is the more bots you play against. I actually don't want to hit infinite too early into the season, so I want a challenge that will slow down my climb. So what are the rules of this challenge? I didn't want to play against bots. I only wanted to hit infinite by gaining cubes off of human players. If they were human, but they were donating cubes, I would also have to return them to the bots. At first, determining bots was so incredibly challenging, because sometimes humans kind of play like bots. It takes a lot of effort to determine if someone's a bot, and that was actually causing me to lose some games. But luckily, after a week into the season, someone published a full bot list that I could constantly check against, see if someone's a bot or not. Alright, so let's give you guys more details about the challenge itself. This took place in January 2023. The season pass card was Zabu, which followed the Silver Surfer season. These two cards were extremely overpowered, and it completely dominated the meta at the time. But the difficulty, the power level of the cards I had to face were extremely high. Something I learned during the climb was that despite my rank being 70 to 80, for the majority of the runs, the matchmaking system is mostly based off of your hidden MMR, which means that despite my lower rank, I was still facing players like Educated Columns, Cam Best, Human Spider, Leandro Leal. These are all players that were rank 150 plus, 200, 300, while I was still sitting in my 80s. My collection level is in the upper 1000s. Combined with the fact that my MMR is quite high, means that I was playing against some of the best players in the game, and their collection levels were often like 4,000, 5,000. And then the last part that made this challenge hard was that I did this challenge entirely on stream. This, while it is not a non-issue for some, it is actually very challenging for me to have to talk through all my thoughts and interact with the stream. In fact, in some of the previous seasons, I actually was unable to climb on stream, and I gained all my 300-ish ranks off stream. Now, what to expect when watching these VODs? This is not going to be your typical YouTube highlight reel. It's going to be a very, very long video series. Each video is going to be one sitting, one night. You're going to see very, very close victories, some crushingly close defeats, but for the most part, it's going to be very run-of-the-mill games. The value of watching them, though, is that I am going to be explaining my thought process during the whole entire time, and hopefully you guys can gain some insight and be able to use some of this follow some of these thought processes in your own games. I say even through like the boring and the exciting, every moment represents a great learning opportunity. Alright, now onto the decks I used. There were two primary decks I used for the challenge. The first one is Kazoo. The Kazoo deck, it's like one of the best pool 1 and pool 2 decks. It features Kazar, Blue Marvel, and a whole bunch of 1-drop. And the idea behind this is that while it's often not like a lot of power compared to your pool 3, pool 4, pool 5 decks with those double Dark Hawks after Moon Girl. The value of it is that you're setting up on turns 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then on your last turn, you're able to selectively put your power where it can help you win. And then of course you'll have a Shang-Chi, which is often played on turn 6 to swing 1 location, and then another location you can win with something like an Ant-Man and a, I don't know, Sunspot. Enchantress. I get this question a lot. Why is Enchantress in this deck when you have 1, 2, 3 ongoing cards? And it's almost entirely because of the Zabu meta. Zabu often is played on turn 3, but turns 4, they often are setting up their turn 5 and turn 6 with something like a Moon Girl. And so even though they get 1 turn of Zabu going off, you shut down their combos before it actually happens. Everybody is very familiar with it's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here. On turn 5, you get that Spider-Man and Absorbing Man. It's like, well, what can you do? So Enchantress shuts that down, and you at least have a chance to contest on turns 5 and 6. The other deck I used, I call my Grape deck, and this is mostly a hodgepodge of random cards. The most key things in this deck is it's got your control cards, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, and Cosmo. And the reason why I have these cards is because there is no way for Pool 1 and Pool 2 to match the natural power of the cards, so we have to shut them down. So we have to shut them down by stopping the on-reveals, shutting down their big Dark Hawks, or also disenchanting their Dark Hawks and Zabus. Of course, you'll occasionally want some big dinos to help you support the board, but often that is also not enough. So what you have to do is you have to have some sneaky cards in here, something like a Claw, to put power into a location that's been stormed, or to have a Heimdall to elusively dip and dodge your cards into a more powerful position. Alright, so that's a brief overview of the decks I used, and without further ado, let's hop into day 1 of the challenge.